Hello all and welcome to Wow Crochet yet again for another tutorial. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on the lining and the zip for our crochet hook bag or pencil case or whatever you want to call it. So there you go. We will be finishing this bag today. Yay! Clap your hands, get excited. Okay, so there's the lining, it's all done, and there's your zip, it's all attached. And what did we use? We used firstly, we had some calico. I had some calico in stock. You can actually use any kind of cotton that you have, any kind of material, cotton material you have in your home, or you can buy calico, or you can actually buy, when you go to the shop to buy some material, you can ask them for pocket material and you can use pretty much the same, okay? Preferably a cotton would do. So if anything you've got in stock that's cotton is fine, all right? Now you will need your scissors, you will need a sewing needle, some pins, and some cotton. Now you will need real cotton for this part, not wool. You can't use wool to sew this on because it's really awkward, okay? You can actually crochet your lining to your bag, but I didn't do that in this tutorial. I just sewed it together, okay? But it's a little bit fiddly. I'm sorry guys, it's a little bit fiddly, but it does look better with lining, and with the lining you can pop in your gazillion crochet hooks. I just had a stack in stock. Oh, by the way, this is the one we used for our Halloween video. This is my very old crochet hook. We used that for the fun Halloween video. If you wanted to see the Halloween video, I'll pop a link to the Halloween video in a description box down below. It'll be the first link that you see. Okay, so you can pop that in there. You can pop your little needle holder in there. You can pop your scissors. Why not? Let's just pop the cotton in just for fun. I can't zip it up because I've got one hand only. I can't do it with one hand, but there you go. Zip it up and it looks gorgeous, and nothing is going to come out at all because you have your lining in there, and that's a relatively deep bag. I mean, look how much space there is. I've got a lot of space. It's a really big bag. I have no idea what I'm going to use this for, but anyway, I'll leave those in there. So that's that. That's really all you will need for your bag. And I'm not going to talk anymore because again, my tutorials go for a gazillion hours. So I'm just going to let you get started with making the lining and the zipper to your crochet bag. Alrighty, what we're going to need for this part now is just make sure your piece of work is folded up the way you want it. If you want it longwise, then that's the way it should be. And if you want it the way I want it, this way, then you need to fold it that way. You need your stitch marker for this part, and all right, there's your middle stitch right there. Yeah, so find your stitch that's the single crochet that you put in that center. That is the actual stitch, the V. What you need to do is pop it in the V just before that center stitch there. All right, there's your center. Pop it in the V just before, to your right, okay? And now we close it up, okay? And then we flip our work and do exactly the same with the other side. Now this is just trying to find the center of your work. You grab another stitch marker, you find the V that's in your center, which is right there. Oops, I'll get my hands out of the way. Right there, and then you pop it in the stitch just before that stitch, yes? Pop it there. This is where you're going to put your hook. So face your work to you. We're doing the side seams. We are crocheting the side seams together. Now I thought of doing a slip stitch or a single crochet, and in the end I thought, you know what, let's keep it in theme of single crochets. Okay, it doesn't matter if you wanted to do a slip stitch as well, you can, to join your work, but we are going to use a single crochet. Now see where your stitch marker is, pop your hook in that first stitch, take that one out. Yes, now you pop it in the opposite stitch where you've put your stitch marker, so right in that stitch, take your stitch marker out, and that's it. That's how you find out exactly where your work is centered. Now, before you start, you need to decide what color yarn do I want to use. Now I'm going to stick with a cream. You can use a contrast color if you like, or you can stick with a cream like me. So I'm going to stick with the cream. All right, and oh, here we go. grabbing the thread of your cream, popping it around your hook, pull the loop through like so, grab that little thread, pass it forward just to lock it into place. We're going to do a chain one there, and in the same stitch we are going to do a single crochet. So you pop your hook in the stitch right through all thicknesses, yes, through to the other side, crocheting over that tail end, and there you go, giving that tail end a bit of a tug here. Now this is a tricky part, guys. It's not really tricky, but if you skip a stitch it will be extremely noticeable. All right, so what you need to do is make sure you get your hook into every stitch you see. Now this is a stitch you're in, pop it into the next stitch, yes. Now you've got to go right to the opposite stitch. Now if you're not sure whether you're in the right stitch, turn it over and have a look. Make sure you are not in the same stitch. Oops, I'm not in the right spot. Hello. It's hard to tell with the white. Sorry guys, maybe I should have done it in a different color for you. Make sure you're not in the same stitch as you just made, okay? Oh, that is really close. Sorry guys, I'm trying to make it so you can see. Then go into your next stitch and right into the opposite stitch. You should be able to tell. If you can't, just pop your work down a little bit and that one will be there, and right on top of it will be your back stitch. All right, I'm hoping that helps, but for me I'm so used to doing them that I know exactly where to put my hook. All right, and now we just head on into that very next stitch. Now take your time with this because you don't want to skip a stitch. All right, and in each stitch all the way across. Alright, so what I would like for you to do is to head off on your own and do this row all the way across. Now I'm going to get a stitch marker and just pop it maybe 2 or 3 stitches before. So that's where I'm going to pop my stitch marker for now. Get yourself to that stitch marker and I shall meet you up. Alright guys, here I am at the end of the row. I'm going to take out my stitch marker. Like I said, there was no exact count across. You just had to make sure you were close to the end as you can, just popping your hook, making sure you're getting 2 on this hook and 2 on that hook, pulling your loop through, doing a normal single crochet. Getting a little tricky now. There's 1 stitch there and there's 1 stitch there, yes, but you know what, there's still another stitch left, that little thickness right there. Just pass your hook through the whole thickness, pull up a loop and do your normal single crochet, chaining 1, pull up a loop, and you've done with that side. All right, what I want you to do before you continue the other side, I just want to show you just quickly what we're going to do with this end, because this end, let's just move everything out the way so you can see what I'm doing. This end here can be hidden inside before we line the bag, because once you line the bag you can't do anything about it, and then you're stuck with hiding it on the outside. So all you do, pop your hand inside your bag like so, yeah, grab that stitch, see that stitch right there, pop it in the back of the stitch there, and just I think I've just lost a needle, it's in here somewhere. Hello, there it is right there, and just pull it through there and the tail gets tucked in. All right, so that's no longer there. Turn your bag inside out like so. Whoa. And then you've got a lot of thicknesses here, guys, that you can weave in, so you don't even have to worry about where you're going to weave. If I were you though, I would stick to just doing it along there. I would try and get into, let's see if I can show you, try and see the stitches, that's the inside of the stitches. I would try and get into those stitches anywhere you like. Try and keep it on top of the stitches more than inside, because otherwise it'll come through the bottom. It won't, because you've got a lot of thicknesses there now. So just pull the loop through one side. If you're worried, turn it the other way and have a look. But I'm just going to go one way and I'm just going to go the other. That is not going to come undone no matter how hard it's washed. All right, so all you have to do is once, twice, and one more time anywhere you like. It doesn't matter again, it doesn't matter. Once you do that third time, it's all easy. Okay? Too easy, yeah? Ta-da! Now, turn your work in the right side, and there you go. So not only have you done your edges, but you've hidden that tail. You cannot see that tail no matter how hard we try. Yep. All right, so what I would like for you to do is, we'll show you how to do those corners again, and then you can go ahead and do your side here. I'll start you all off, and you can go ahead and do it and then come back to me and we'll work on the front bit, the top front bit, which is good. All right, so there is your center stitch right there. Grabbing your stitch marker. Now that is your center stitch. There, yeah? Right there. What you want to do is pop it in the stitch just before it on your right side, not downwards, on the front. Very, very top part of your work, if that helps. Okay, and turn it over, do the other side. There's your center stitch. We want to pop it in the stitch on the opposite. Oh, wait, where am I? I'm going the wrong way. Oops. This one's going to the left, okay? So there's your stitch. Right there. And you want to go the left way. We want to go that way because this is the top of our work, yeah? Okay? And then you turn your work, grab your hook. Right there, pop your hook in your first stitch marker, like so. Take that out. Now, pop your hook in your, I can get it, your opposite stitch marker, like, oops. Oh, that's tight, like so. Yep. Take that out. Grabbing your thread. Alright, just pull a loop through like normal. Pull that loop through. And grab your little tail end, passing it forward again, just to lock it into place. Chaining one. And of course, you're going to do what we did before. You're going to single crochet in that very same stitch that you're in. Gotta make sure I get in the opposite stitch now. Right, and you're going to crochet over your tail with your single crochet. Now you can pop it at the back if you like, and then you're going to hop into your very next stitch like so. Okay, and there we go. That's the trickiest part of this row, just getting it organized, and the other tricky part also is the very end. But the middle bit too, super easy. But what I want to do, I want to get you to this, see this little thread here? I want to get you to that one. If you've gone over it already on the opposite side, doesn't matter. I just wanted to show you what I usually do. I've got one there and one there. So then I pop my hook in that stitch just before the stitch, but I actually, let me pop it in the stitch opposite first, like that. I actually grab that tail and crochet over it. You don't need to if you don't want to, that's going to be sewn in anyway, but by doing that it hides it completely. Grab the other stitch and the opposite stitch right there. Okay. Alright, so what I would like for you to do, you know this part, grab a little stitch marker, pop it in the last 2 or 3 stitches. I'm not even going to make it exact because we're going to, once we get down there, we'll sort that out. All right, and just continue along that edge. Then later I'll show you what you can do with that thread if you like. Once again, I don't need to show you. You can just find a little spot where you can put it through in there and weave that in. That's the same with this front thread as well. Find a little spot, pop it in and weave it in on the inside, because that won't come undone. Once we pop our lining on, there's no way that'll come undone. All right, so go ahead, finish that row. I'll get to that stitch marker there and I'll meet you up. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. I'm just going to take that stitch marker out. Alright, now this is always the tricky part, the end, but making sure you are getting into every stitch you do, okay? And if it helps, I will face it towards you so you can see. Firstly, there's the stitch there, and there's the opposite stitch, so you're getting all thicknesses, yeah? And before you weave in, make sure you check all of your stitches that you've got them in the right place. Now that last one, very tricky, but it's there. You must get in there or you're going to have a hole in your bag. Not that it makes a difference because our bag will be lined, but anyway. So now you're just going to pull up a loop. Because our bag's going to be lined, nothing will fall out. But still, you don't want to, a half job, yeah? Okay, now that's that. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to work on the top. Yay, this is the best bit. Because after this, we're going to pop the zipper on and the lining. Ah, very exciting. I know. I get so excited, don't I? Now, you need to start in any corner that you like. Probably not exactly in the corner, okay? It doesn't matter, but I'm just trying to show you what to do in the corners. So what you need to do, probably your best bid, is to start 1 or 2 stitches over. Now there's your center of your corner, and there's your opposite center because we've done that, that stitching there, right? So these 2 stitches right there is 2 separate stitches. So we're going to go 1 and just go 1 over like that. So you're really going 2 over. All right, I hope that makes sense. It doesn't matter. I just don't want you to start in the corner. All right, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Passing your tail end over. Now you can use, once again, you can use the cream or whatever color you like. We are chaining 1. We are putting a single crochet in the same space. And you're going to pop your stitch marker in that. I'm going to pop a yellow in because I want a nice bright one. Okay, pop your stitch marker in your single crochet. Now once again we're going to try and crochet over this tail just for the 1 stitch right there, and then I'm going to pop it at the back only because I want you to see what I'm doing here at the front. So what you're going to do is just going to go into that very next space you see with a single crochet. Then you're going to jump over all of this. You're going to jump into that space that you see right there, it's a stitch, with a single crochet. Okay, easy. And then go into your next, and your next, and your next. Well, this part, I was going to say, it's super easy because it's just single crochets on top of your already single crochets that are there. Okay, it's super duper easy, I'm telling you. This row is the easiest row. No, actually the next row is the easiest row. Mind you, the next row is the last row, I think. That's funny. Well, I found the granny squares easy. I really did. But these single crochets, they're quick. And if you are an intermediate crocheter, that's going to be super easy for you. I'm just trying to pick up speed here. You know what? I might just pop the camera on speed and get to that very next stitch right there, and I'll meet you there in a second. Alrighty guys, how did you go? Wish we could crochet that fast, eh? Alright, so that's that second last stitch I just did before our corner, and there's your last stitch before the corner, the corners I should say, because there's more than one. And there's your first space, pop your single crochet in there, and right over, jumping over all of this thickness is your second space. And guess what? Single crochet all the way across. All right, I'm not going to let you watch me do that. I would like for you to single crochet all the way across, get to that stitch marker and meet me up. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. Have a couple of stitches left here. 1 and 2. And then the next stitch will be our stitch marker. So what I need you to do, just pop your hook. Isn't that nice tight stitch? You know, at least in every tutorial I have one really tight stitch, and that's the one. Alright, so that's that one there. You're going to pop your loop through, pull it through to the loop on your hook. You're going to chain 1, and you're going to do a single crochet in the same space. Don't do it so tight, Mary. And there you go. Grabbing your stitch marker, and you guessed it, you are going to do a row of single crochets Alrighty, and now we are going to do a single crochet in your next stitch and in your next, and every stitch you come to, and this one here might be fairly tight, but it is there, so make sure you get in there and there and there. Oh, you guessed it. We are going across. However, what I would like for you to do, just pop a stitch marker in your very next side just before that center there, and I'll meet you up because I just want to make sure you are actually getting in your stitches properly. So pop that stitch marker there, continue along this side here, get to here, and I'll meet you up. Alrighty guys, here we are at this side right here. Just take out your stitch marker. I just want to make sure you're getting into those side stitches and not skipping them. Not for count reasons, but because later if you don't, it sort of looks like you've got a hole there and you don't want that. Alright, so there's our 3 stitches that we had, one before and one after. Okay, so you pop your one in there. See the loops? You're seeing your V's, even though that's a small V, so that's a normal V, and your next one will be a small V. You still need to get into that small V. Alright, I hope that helped. Okay, so just continue along in that manner all the way across, yay. And easy, 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 yay, you guessed it. Continue along, get to that stitch marker, and I shall meet you up. Alrighty guys, get excited because we are not only at the end of the row, we're at the end of the crocheting part of your bag. Yay, yay, yay. Take your stitch, oh no, don't take it out yet, pop your hook. Have I got one beforehand? No. Pop your hook directly into your stitch marker, like so. Take out your stitch marker, slip stitch, like so. Chaining one, pull up your loop, you guessed it, give it a cut, do yourself a favour, and weave in all your ends. Alright, so join me in a few minutes time to attach our zip. Here I have with some calico, and I have the zip to match. Now this zip, little story about this zip, I actually went out to buy it because I couldn't find my zips. I have a whole bag of zips, oh well, that happens. And I couldn't find a 25 zip, I'm sorry, let's try that again, a 25 centimetre zip. And I'll pop the inches up the top, by the way. That was normal. So I just found an invisible zip. If you're wondering what that is, let me show you quickly. You can't see the teeth. The teeth are underneath. Teeth underneath? That rhymes. Okay, so the teeth are underneath, and on top you don't see anything. Now they're made for specifically for evening wear, or you know, something elegant, some soft material. I got desperate. I thought, well, you know what, I've only got this afternoon to do this in, so I've just bought that. And it didn't cost me more than the other ones, but anyway, that doesn't matter. So I found some old calico, and I mean old, this is very old, I had in stock for so long. So I thought, I usually use this kind of material to make pockets inside tops. So I found this old calico, and what I did was I cut it, let me put that on top, to suit my bag. Now it's relatively big, as you can see, it's bigger, really big, but you do need big because you've got to sew up those side seams, and that top bit there, you need quite a bit of space because you're going to be folding it in and sewing. So how big should you make your calico? Okay, there's your material. This might be a little bit too big. This looks like 1.5 inches, maybe 2. Let's have a quick look. It is, oh no, it's actually 1 inch. All right, so 1 inch from here. The sides, you don't need to make it that big. You can make it 1/2 inch if you like. It doesn't matter, or 1 inch, it doesn't matter. Just remember, when you're sewing up the side seams, if you make it too big, it's just going to be all loose and bubbly in the bag. If you make it too small, like if you make it really, really small, your bag, it's not going to get the most use out of your bag. So try and keep it as close as you can. I'm going to sew right to there. Okay. Alrighty guys, so what I've done is I've done one side off air of the sewing part. Okay. Now this is the other side that we're going to work on. Now, the best thing for you to do is to actually work on the open side. Okay, now when we're working on the open side, we're going to pop our bag firstly on top, Okay, let me turn it this way. It's a lot easier for you to see. Okay, hang on, let's see exactly where I've sewn before. There. All right, so that's pretty much how much, oops, I'm not even in frame, hello. That's pretty much how much I have left. So what you need to do is you need to grab some pins, and what you need to do is see that part right there? You just need to pop a pin there. Okay, oops, not that crooked. There. So what you're going to do is you're going to start sewing from there and working your way all the way down to the clothes section. So let's start with your thread. Thread your needle, and you need a double thread for this part. So thread your needle, double it, you thread it and then you double it and you put a little knot on the end, and then, but you need a lot of thread for this, okay, because we're going to go in and then out and then in and then out, and I'll explain that to you in a moment. Okay, all right, so that's that. Now see where I put that pin? That's exactly where I'm going to start. Not on it, under it, but just in front of it. And the reason is it gives you a little bit more leeway to play with, okay? So all you're doing is popping it in, say a little tiny bit, you know, doesn't have to be a lot. Pop it in and pull it through. In fact, I think it's better to work like that. All right, so I think I put that in crooked, but doesn't matter. Don't put it in crooked, guys. Don't put it in crooked. All right, so you can take that needle out now. You won't need it there anymore. I mean, try pin, Mary. Okay, so you've gone in once. You're going to go back into the same place that you were in, and then you're going to go right in front of the thread that you just made. All right, I'm just going to bring that forward so you can see better. So what you should have is, not a knot like that. What you should have is this one filled up and a big space here. Then you're going to go back into the, it's like you're taking, what, one step forward, two steps back? Is that, no, two steps forward, one step back. Hello. So you're taking that one step back and two steps forward. So there's your step. You're going in front of that, and then you're pulling your thread through. Yeah, hopefully yours is straighter than mine. So you go back into the one you just went in. So it's one step back. I'm sorry, one step back. I don't know how I'm saying it. Am I saying it right? And then back into the front. Okay, so a little bit in front and a little bit at the back. And what you're doing is, it's almost like you are double knotting it or double seaming it. Or you could have just done a whole seam all the way over and then gone all the way back. So either way would have been good. This is just a lot quicker than doing it the other way. So there's your thread. It's kind of like you're centering your thread in between the front and the back. And then you're pulling your thread through and you're filling up your back and you're starting another front. Now you're going to fill up the back and once again start another front. Now before you go on, your best thing to do for now, especially if you're not a sewer, is to pop some pins in. Okay, so grab some pins like that, and oops, I'm in the wrong, not even in frame there. Try it again. Grab some pins like that and just pop it through as straight as you can. So when you're popping your thread in the front, you're going straight on the pin, and then once you're in that little pinhole right there, you take that out, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So just as straight as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect, you know, because it's inside the bag. It's not going to be too noticeable. Okay, like so. Oh, like so. Get in frame, Mary. Get in frame. Hello. Have I got another one? I had a handful on the table before, but they're all gone missing. Okay. That's what happens. You push things out the way and everything goes missing. Okay, so I don't know. Let's see if that's straight enough. Perfect. Okay, so we won't do any more. Just show you how to do it now, so that you know where you're heading. So this is what it looks like. Okay, so just keep going until the very end. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take that one out because I don't think I need that right now. But see, there's our needle right there. Right. So all you're doing, remember, you're going back one for this bit, and you're going forward. And what you do is you go forward, Oh, I'm not even in frame. Get in frame, Mary. So you're going forward like so. So there's your pin. Your needle is the same line as your pin, so you know you're going straight. All right, so go back. That one was a bit big, that one. I might make the next one a little bit smaller. We don't want it that big. Okay, so just keep going all the way across. Okay, so that's that. Now, I made this one a little bit smaller because I made the other one bigger, so I'm just going to go back a bit. Probably should have used a darker thread for you so you could see, but it's relatively simple. Just follow the needle, just follow your pins, staying in straight line like that, trying not to collect all the other threads that are coming out. And there you go. All right, so I'm not going to let you watch me do that. Go ahead and do that. Add the rest of your pins here first. Go ahead and do that. Like that's what it looks like. Yeah. So go ahead and do that. Get to the end and I shall meet you there. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. Now I have to go back one still and probably come back one again. Okay. Because we want to make sure we get as close to the tip as we can. So I'm going to go back my last one, get right into that tip, making sure you're as close to that tip as you can, or the bottom part, if you will. Go back. Okay, now all you need to do is actually go back. So it's literally like you're going over your base, right there. Now, anywhere you like, you are going to do what we usually do, but a little bit different. Go through some stitches at the back, grab. Okay, this is a tricky bit. I'm going to try and do it while it's in camera, while it's in view. Grab your little bit on the bottom, wrap it around your needle a few times, not so tight, just keep it nice and loose. Oh, I can get it out. I think I did it too tight. There we go. And what it's doing is that's knotting there. It's not enough for me. I like to do it a few times and then go into another stitch and then wrap it around. Whoops, it's not working at all, is it? Hello. Wrap it around a few times. It's not like crochet where you need to weave it in and out. If you want to do some weaving, fine. Just a few knots is fine. Let's go back the other way. Why? You know me. I'm a stickler. Okay. Oh, if I can get the threads right, we can get it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's bring it this way. Okay, sorry about that. Let's try that again. And there you go. Wrap it around your needle a few times and then just pull your needle through. I think we're done. Sure are. So what we do is we cut this little guy right here. Okay, and there is your insert. Now, we are going to attach our zip to our lining. Yay! All right, now what you need to do is you need to have the wrong side of your lining facing you. That is where all the threading we just did is, okay? Then you need to have your zip. Now your zip needs to be facing you, and I'll show you how. Because this is an invisible zip, it's hard to tell. So your zip needs to be facing you like normal, as if you're opening your zip. Okay, like normal. Beautiful. Bring that down. So that's facing you. The wrong side of your bag is facing you. I folded one side over, and I only because I played with it and attached it before, made sure I was doing the right thing for you. But I folded one side over. So just when you don't have to worry about folding it over until we start attaching it, but lift your side down, grab that zip and just slide it on top of the other one. Now you're not pinning it to the other one, you're just sliding it on there. Oh, that didn't work. Bring that down a bit. It's better. And at this stage, before we start, we're going to open the zip just for this part of the tutorial, just until we're putting our pins in, our first two pins, and then we'll close it up in a minute. But just for now, we've opened it up a little bit. All right. Now I'm going to get a close-up for you so you can see what I'm doing. So leave it at that. I'll bring the close-up for you. This is where you'll need your pins. All right, now grabbing a pin. It is going to be attached to this side of the work. Now I've even marked it so it can remind me that's exactly where we're going to attach it. Only for my benefit, so that I don't attach it to that and make you make a mistake like I nearly did before I started. Okay, so we're going to attach it to this part of the work. What you do is you fold your material. If your material's not folded, fold it over a little bit. And there's your zip. Now where you need to sew is in the middle of your zip and in the middle of your material. So if you pop your zip there, right, grabbing your pin, any pin that you have handy, pop it right in the middle of your material. Whoops, that's not exactly the middle. Let's try that there. And your zip, right? Turning it over, making sure you have gone through the zip, okay? So as you can see there, that's all crooked. So it might be the zip is crooked, might be the material. It doesn't matter, just adjust it and make sure it's not crooked. It doesn't really matter, a tiny millimetre out, nobody will notice. You're the only one who notices it. But it's good to have it straight. Turning it over, making sure you're going over the zip, and I'm not going over the zip. Why? It's too high up. Well, the needle's not high enough. How's that? That's better. All right, now we're through the zip and we're through the material. So what I want you to do is do that for the next 2 pins, and then we're going to close the zip just to do the rest. Now what you've got to do is try and keep your pins straight along the way. And the reason is because when you are sewing, you're going to be sewing along that line. And you don't want your sewing to be crooked. If it's a tiny little bit crooked again, it doesn't matter. Now, we've got 2 pins in. I said the next 2 pins, but that'll do. Grab your zip, close it up. Just for this second. You're going to open it up again in a minute, but just for the second, I think it's closed all the way. Yes. Now, you grab your pins and you continue along the way. Find your next spot. I'm not even in frame. Sorry, guys. Sorry. This part is a little bit fiddly, so just find another spot. Run it right through your... There you go. Okay, so as straight as you can. So continue along the way. Get to the end of your zip right there and I shall meet you up. Alrighty guys, I've pinned all mine along the way. Now I've left this little end bit a little bit open, and I'll tell you why. I find when finishing off, this can go crooked when we take out our last pin. So with the last one, what I would like for you to do, if you can, is just pop a pin. That's not a good one because that's rusted. See, sometimes you find a rusty pin, guys, throw it out. Okay, so grab your pin, just the very, very top area, and go through it like that, or maybe downwards, whichever suits you. So when you get to here, well, as close as you can, when you get to here and you pull that pin out, sometimes that moves and you end up going like that, okay? But if you leave, oh, that didn't even work. Let's try that again. Try that. Ah, that's better. Hello. So if you leave the pin there, all you need to do is go, all this thread's out in the way. All you need to do is keep sewing across and it'll stay nice and straight for you. Once you get to here, you can pull that pin out and you've only got that last bit left. I hope that makes sense. But there you go. All right, so this is where we're at. Now we need to grab our needle and thread. Those two little ends there. Oops, I was out of frame there. Sorry about that. Just give them a bit of a twist. Yeah. Now, pop the thread around your finger. Twist it and pull that little tiny thread through. You've got one knot, okay? You're just going to do that 3 or 4 times. I don't know, 5 times. It doesn't matter. See, I'm changing my fingers. It just works better that way for me. I twist it around, pull it down. Over the finger, twist it, and pull it down. I've got a few there. It's probably too much. And you'll get them in different spots. That's okay. Try to keep them all in the one spot. Now I've noticed that last one I did looks like that. They're all twisted in one spot. All right. Just to give you if you're not sure how to do that, just tie them in a knot in your hand a couple of times. Make it 2 or 3 times, not just once. We are going to start sewing from the zip edge up. So what I want you to do for now is to grab your little zip, open it up after the 2 pins again. If you can, around the 3 or 4 pins, doesn't matter. Open up your little bag a bit, grabbing your needle, and you're going to actually pass your needle, which way is going to be inside the bag? That way. Now this is going to be inside your bag, so you won't see this area at all. So you're better off popping your thread, popping your thread through this side, not through the zip section, just through your material for now. Popping it through. This is not the right needle to use, guys, for the sewing, so I may struggle a little bit. Okay, so popping your thread right through there, it's just to lock that into place, all right? And then just popping it through to the zip where your pin is, roughly. That pin looks like it's been put in a little bit crooked there. It's too high up. Okay, so just pop it through. This is just to lock it all into place. It's not actually sewing yet. It's just locking your zip into place. Okay, now we're doing the sewing. You're going to take out this pin here, all right? Now, you are going to be following that pin there, all right, just to keep it nice and straight. Oh, this thread is far too big. I don't know if yours is big enough, big as mine. So all you're going to do, this is where you are. I've got a bit of pen there. I'll just move that little thread out the way so you can see what I'm doing. So pop your needle into your material and your zip, and then pop it through the other side, not leaving too much space, like that. Okay, this is the wrong needle, guys. I'm really struggling to get it through the material. I've got the needles, but I've lost them. The sewing needles. Okay, there we go. Just pull your thread through like so, and what you should actually have now is a big space in between, not too big. Try not to make that space too big. That's a little too big for me, actually. I'm not really keen on that space. I'm not taking it undone though, it's just one. So what you do is you go back, like we did before with the sewing along the sides, you go back into the space where you can't, where you can see a whole lot of gap there. Go back into that space, and then you are going into, that 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing. That's what you're going to do. So you're halfway over into that space and halfway over into the new space. Well, that's not bad now. It's probably just the zip itself. I know these invisible zips are really tight. They kind of have to be because they're made for evening wear. They're not really made for this kind of thing. I know, right? But I couldn't find the other zip. So there you go, that's life. Anyway, let's keep going. All right, so we're going back into the same space that we're in, and we're starting a new one right there. Yeah, I am really going to struggle with this. Good thing I'll be doing this off air. All right, so we're pretty close to that other pin. So what we're going to do is take that other pin out and start along there. Okay, keeping it straight, making sure this doesn't pin you. I've already been pinned twice today off air. Having a practice with this. You go back into your stitch that you started in, starting and creating a new stitch there. Not a zip, a stitch. But also making sure you are going through your zip, okay? Don't think that you haven't gone through the zip just by doing it that way. You may have missed it. Like if you can see it lifting a little bit, it may have missed the zip completely. And I just pinned myself then, but very mildly, which is good. So there won't be any major disturbances to our work. Big red stains everywhere. Just, straightening out your thread and doing one more, I think. And then I think we can close up our zip. Yeah, I think we can close up our zip after this one. We might need another one actually. Oh, there we go. All right, so we are here. We shall do one more, I think. Making sure your thread is nice and even and there's no loops. Like if there's any loops here, it means you haven't straightened this out properly. Don't pull it too tight or it tugs. So you're going back into the stitch you started with, and you are starting a new stitch right there. Mamma mia, this is the wrong needle. It really is the wrong needle. Okay, it's not your problem for you, it's a problem for me, but off air it's a little bit easier. So before we continue, you're grabbing your zip and you are closing your zip up. So now when you're working, the zip is out of your way and you can work along here easy. And let me just do one with you and then we can head off on our own, yeah? Now that your zip is closed, you can head off and go straight back into that stitch that you did and giving yourself another half a stitch. There, okay? Now continue in this manner all the way across. Oh, sorry about that rest there, that little break there and breather. Blank all that out. Okay, so back into the other stitch and a little bit forward, like so. Oh, struggle to get that needle through. I better find my sewing needles. I really should, shouldn't I? All right, so what I want you to do, so that you don't see me struggling with this terrible needle, is continue all the way along there, get to that pin right there, and I shall meet you up. Alrighty, here we are at the end of the row. Okay, now that's where our needle is to keep it straight, so we don't move around so much. So we're going to go back into our last and start a new one right there. Don't take that other needle out yet. That's a little awkward here, guys, but don't take that needle out yet because it can go crooked. All right, one more as close to the needle as you can get, and then you can take that needle out. See how close? I think that's close enough. Let's have a look, see. I'm going to try another one. I'll tell you what, the thread is running low. That's not completely out, which is good. Yeah, I'm going to take the needle out now. All right, because we are literally, I really got to find my sewing needle. All right, popping it in the last bit and straight through to the other side again. You still have a little tiny bit, see already it's gone a bit crooked. You still have a little tiny bit left of your side right there. And hopefully you've got a proper needle. So what I want you to do is go back into that last one and just push it through to the other side like that. And just pull it through like so. And then what I want you to do, whoops, it's a bit awkward having this other piece hanging there. Wait till you do the next side. It's going to be even more awkward. You need to actually go into the material like so. Bring it back through. There. Now we're going to cast off. Now casting off a little bit odd, you know. You could either cast off here or on your thread, on your material, it doesn't matter. I just find it's a little bit awkward to do it here, but at least it's relatively tight and it's not going to come undone. However, you're not just doing it once, you're doing it twice. So you're popping your needle through halfway, wrapping your thread around your needle a few times. Don't make it too tight, otherwise it'll knot on the way through. And just pulling it through and it kind of knots into place. Then you're going to go back in to the material, back through anywhere you like. You're going to do it again. Why? Well, you don't have to. I am. And the reason is I'm an absolute stickler at these things and I will do it a few times. I'm not worried about this part being noticeable because it's, you know, it's going to be tucked inside your bag, so no one's going to see it and it won't even be noticeable in the bag. Okay, there you go. That's done. So let's have a look quickly at how we went. All right, this is where you should be. So when we do the other side, it'll be like that. Okay, and it'll look like it's wrong. But this bit here is going to be sewn to your bag. So you're not going to see any of that sewing once you sew this to the bag, and I'll explain that to you later. So opening up your zip, making sure you can open up your zip and making sure you can close your zip, and making sure that you did thread on the other side and you didn't miss the zip, which can happen. Okay, if it has, you have to do it again. Sorry guys, but there you go. Now let's get on to the next step, which is attaching the other side of the zip to the bag. Alrighty, now to do the other side. Okay, this is where we finished off. Yes, it's where we finished off. All right, we're turning our work like so. Yes, there's your zip. That's the part we did. flip it. Okay, bringing your piece forward, you're not creasing it, just bring it forward gently, bringing your zip forward. Oh wait, before you do, I'm sorry, just open up your zip all the way across, like so. Now all you're going to do is bring that zip under your piece, like so. I'll show you what I did there so you can see what I did. I just brought that little piece under my zip. Now it's under my material, sorry. Little bit tricky, I know, this part here, you know, a little tiny bit tricky, but I noticed this zip's got a bit of a gap. I'm assuming yours would have a tiny bit of a gap as well that you can actually play with a little bit. So that's there. All right, so just grabbing your pin and popping it through there into your zip and back through to the other way. Just make sure you haven't popped it through the other side of your zip, that it's only through your zip and your material there. Just make sure that's in. Yep, it's in. Good. All right, so that's the first bit of attaching. Grabbing the rest of your zip. It's a little bit tricky, that first bit, but once you've done it, this part here will be easier. Keep going all the way along there, just like you did your other side. And the fact that your zip is already open, it shouldn't affect you. I'm finding that's really too high. Just a little bit lower, but making sure you are getting into the zip at the back. Yeah, a little bit lower there, and again a little bit lower there. Super duper easy. Now head off on your own. Put your pins across this way. Remember what we did last time? We put a pin right across there as well. So do that as well, and I shall meet you up in a moment. Alrighty guys, this is where we're up to now. You've got your little pin across there as well to keep it in place towards the end. What you need to do is start grabbing your thread and needle. Before I used 125 inches or 320 centimeters of thread, then I threaded it through the needle and made my little knot for you. Okay, and now we're going to do that. We did that. Now we're going to start our sewing again. Oh, very exciting. All right, so I'm going to get you nice and close so you can see what I'm doing. Alrighty, there you go. Now this is our first part. A little bit tricky, this part, but see if you can pop your needle under your material there. If not, just pop it on top, it doesn't matter. It's just literally making your first knot, this part, and it doesn't even need to go through the zip. If you haven't, it doesn't matter. Okay, you're just making your little knot, and then you're going through. The only way you can tell if you're going through both is by hopefully not pinning yourself like I usually do. Maybe it's better to spread open your bag a little bit, your lining a little bit, pop your needle down, grab out your pin, your first pin, because that's just taking up a lot of space. I don't know why I'm so close there. It's scary, it's really close. Okay, now you are starting attaching your zip. Just getting through this front area, and that's it, I'm through. Okay, so that's the hardest part of attaching this side of the zip, trust me. It's not going to get any harder than this. It starts to get easier once we pass the zipped area here, okay? Now you go back into that last stitch that you did, and I almost pinned myself there. Lucky this pin is a little bit blunt. And you, oh, I might need to take this pin out too. It's just in the way. I might actually close the zip a little bit because it's pulling a little bit, and that's a lot better, and I can actually work. Hopefully that helped you too. I'm just going to make this one a little smaller just until we get part of the zip, past the zip area. You don't need to, you can, you know, do your, I've just got a really bad needle. I'm struggling to get past this area with this needle. Okay, a lot of thread coming off that calico, really it is. It's driving me batty. Okay, there we go. Go back to doing normal size stitches. I keep coming out of frame, sorry guys. There we go, we're in. Once I do this section here, we can open up that zip a bit more, well I can. I'm not sure how tight yours is. It's just my needle's such a bad needle So now I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to pop my zip open a little bit more. If you left your zip open, that's fine. I'm just going to pop it open a little bit more. And there we go. Making sure you are going over your zip under there. Just check occasionally, especially near the zipped area, the tighter part of the bottom zip area. Going back into the area you just went in. And again, what are you doing? You are making your little, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back look. Okay? I think that was the only way I could explain it. There must be another way to explain it. I don't claim to be a major seamstress. I just know, you know, the basics to get me out of trouble. All right, there you go. Hey, I'm a crochet artist, not a seamstress. And just making sure you're keeping it straight, because I've noticed we're going a tiny little bit crooked there. I want to do that. I think we are now out of the difficult part right here. The rest of it is going to be easy to thread. This thread is so long. Look how long it takes me to get through. But if you don't leave a long thread, it's not going to make it at the end of the round. And you may have noticed that already. With the previous one, we were relatively tight. All right, so that's what I want you to do. Head off on your own. So we've gone past the hard bit now. The rest is pretty much the same as what you did before. Okay. So go ahead and do the rest of this side, and I shall meet you up when we get to that pin right there. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row, and yours truly is just going to do one more by fighting with her needle. Oh, well, what do you do? It's just the wrong needle, that's all. All right, so here we are. This is where we are. We're going to take out our pin. And you need to make sure, whoops, I didn't pull that thread through properly, did I? That's better. You need to make sure you sew right across and over the zip as well. So firstly, start off with keeping the zip in place like this. So you've still got to go back on that last stitch. And keeping the zip in place, I've still got another little tiny bit of that zip left, because this is going to make or break on how that zip holds inside your bag if you don't finish off the edges properly. Go back into that. As you can probably see, I've gone a bit crooked there, but that's okay because I want to really tighten up that area right there where our zip is. Right now I'm still on the zip, but I'm on the very, very tip of the zip. So if you pass it that way, you can see I'm on the tip of the zip. Tip of the zip. Try say that fast 10 times. Tip of the zip, tip of the zip. Oh, I get sidetracked, don't I? Sorry. Okay, so there we go. We're going to go back into that last space that we did. And now you're just going to go over the zip. Doesn't matter if you don't go through the zip at all. You go right over the zip because we've gone through that zip right to the end. Okay, now remember before how we did our you know, knotting? That's what you're going to do here. So all you're going to do here is go through a little bit of your material. Doesn't matter how much, just a little bit. Remember wrapping your thread around your needle, I don't know, 3-4 times, doesn't matter. Not too tight or you can't do this part here. Okay, now what you're going to do, you're going to go, remember how we put the needle straight into the material and right through? Yep, you're going to do that and you're going to go right back into that material again. And then you're going to do that knot again. I'm not going to fuss too much because this part is going to get sewn in to the bag now. So give your work a little bit of a cut. So there's your bag, your zip. Let me bring it out a bit so you've got it. So your zip should close and open easily without getting caught or snagged on any material. Okay, now this is the part where you pop it in your bag. And now there's nothing bad about it, it's just a very fiddly part. So pop your bag, your lining in your bag, like so. Best part is, guys, once this section here is done, we're done. Okay, that's the best part of this bit. Now, hopefully you didn't do your lining too tight or too loose. If it's too loose, your crochet bag will stretch. So that's not a problem. Your yarn can stretch. But if it's too tight, that's where you're going to have problems. Okay, so hopefully you didn't do it too tight. And don't stress too much. If it's too tight, you can actually put 2 stitches together. It'll bubble a little tiny bit. But better to have your lining loose inside, which that's fairly loose, so you can stretch your bag to suit. There's the middle of your bag, yes, and there's the middle of your work. So you just line it. You can pop your sewn side any way you like. It doesn't matter. All right, so now there's your material. You've got 1 row of single crochets, your 2nd row, and we're sitting on our 3rd row. So that is what you're doing. You're popping your pin through there and through your zip. You've pushed your zip down to do this part, all right? It's because we're going to sew from that material to there, and then you open up your zip and everything's covered. I hope that makes sense, all right? So popping your zip downwards and just slowly pinning. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to go down the zip if you don't want to. I just need it to, because that way it keeps your zip down while you're doing this part. So go around and do that all the way down. Okay, so what you need to do actually while you're doing this, when you get to the end, you're going to find it might be a little bit tight or a little bit loose. There you go. You probably don't need to go push, you just need to push that zip down. You may not even have to go through it like I've done it there. So you might find that once you get to the end, it's going to be like that, or it's going to be like that. So you really, as you're doing it, keep stretching. Go right to the opposite side of that side. Leave the zip open for this part. It's very tricky, this part, very, very tricky. So it's just a matter of popping a pin right in there for now. This is the opposite side of your bag, yeah? Popping your pin in there for now, just to find a position for the opposite side, all right? Continue to do along here, all right? Because you know you've got the opposite side. So when you get to this side, all you need to do is straighten it up there, okay? So I hope that makes sense. And you can take that pin out and then you can straighten it along there. I'll show you when we get up to there. You continue to do to the second last, just towards the last part of the zip, and I'll meet you there in a moment. All right, here I am near the zip. Yeah, very tricky, this zip area. Sorry guys, trying to make it as easy as possible, but that's not going to work. Sorry, but there you go. Just make sure your material is high enough so that you can actually sew that in later. Okay, so just grab a pin, popping it through, okay, and just turning around and doing the opposite side. All right, so keep going along that opposite side exactly the same way we've done this, and I'll meet you when you get to the end. All right guys, what you should have is that, yeah, easy. Some of it's not not down, but it doesn't matter as long as we can see where we're putting our needle. Now the reason I asked you to put your needle like that, we're going to start on this end, because that way we can work on that zip end later, is so that we can see where we're putting our needle, right? Let's move that bag this way so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so just push the needle on the inside. That way you can, the knot will stay inside. I'll show you that in a minute when we bring this through. It's really long, this thread. All right, so now your knot will stay inside your work. So at the end, when we're finished sewing up, you won't see the knot. Doesn't matter anyway, because the zip is going to go over it and you won't see it anyway. All right, so what you need to do now is start your sewing. And your sewing is, you start pretty close to the edge of your work, not too close because you don't want it to rip through and then break and it's no good. Okay, you can go a little bit low if you like, it's probably too close. And then I'm going to pull this needle out, this pin out for now. And then you are just going into your crochet work. So find a spot where you can go. I've got that little thickness there. And it doesn't even matter if you come through because cotton is very faint. I prefer not to, it's like split the stitch. But if you go through, it doesn't matter because we've got the white cotton, so it won't be noticed. Okay, so just bringing your stitch through like so. So far, that's already attached, yeah? Then you've got to go back into your material. Again, not too high, not too low. Yeah, maybe halfway between your zip and your material, if that helps, okay? Oh gosh, that didn't work. It got stuck around the pin. Here we go. There we go. Now, you're in the material, aren't you? Yes, so now you've got to go into your stitch anywhere you like. Again, it doesn't matter, okay? It won't be noticed at the front anyways. Oops, anyways. So pop it in anywhere you like. Pull it through like so. And just keep going all the way along. Maybe I didn't pull that thread through. What happened there? Oh, there we go. All good. And now we just keep going all the way along. And there's no right or wrong width to do it. Don't leave it too wide apart or you're going to have holes. And you don't want holes, yeah? So try to keep it as close as you can to the very next crochet stitch, if that helps. We can take that pin out in a minute. In fact, we'll take it out right now. All right, so now what do we go through? Just the stitch. Yep, now we're going to go through the material. I'm not keeping track, am I? See how I've left it just that little bit, like a tiny little bit apart, not a lot. Okay, all right, so I'm not going to let you sit here and watch me do it. Continue in that manner, get to the first section right there, just the very first part where the zip is. That's going to be tricky. So get to that first part where the zip is and I'll meet you up. Alrighty guys, here I am at the end of the row. I found it easier to take out that pin that was opposite the middle there because it's a little bit fiddly, this bit here. We're not at the end of the row, we're at the end of one side, excuse me. I'm going to go right into my crochet stitch there. Let's bring it more on the light so you can see what I'm doing. Of course it's going to knot now. It didn't knot once while I was off air, can you believe it? And then go into the stitch. See, we're getting very close to the end of that zip there. So just get into that stitch there. And now we're going straight into the very next. Oh, very tricky around the end. Very, very tricky. But, you know, it's okay. It's only a little bit. And then once our project, once that section there is done, the rest is relatively easy. We'll get to the next side. It'll be easier. Okay, there you go. Getting there. Okay. Notice how I keep tucking that in before I continue. All right, now we are right there. So we're still going into that stitch there. We're not going to cast off our thread. We're going to keep going. If you don't have enough thread, cast off now and start again from here and then work your way around. Yeah. But when you're starting again, always go back a few stitches, pop your needle in the space, little tiny space of another stitch that you see right there. Pop your needle in there and then start through there again. It's better to double up than not to, you know, it's just safer to double up than not to have left it loose. Where was I? I need to go into the material now. It's a bit tricky because this part is where the zip starts to close up. But you still need to get into that material. Oh, if I can get in there. Right there. Just a very, very point at the very end of your zip. Or top of your zip, I should say. It's not the end, it's the top. Oh no, it's the end. It's right the first time. Now, what did we go into material, yeah? Now we're going to go back into the crocheted stitch. Again, tricky. If it helps to pull it backwards, you can. And then pull your needle through like so. So you're actually in the middle now. So we want to jump onto the other side of our zipper. So it might pay to take that very first needle out like we did before with the last needle. And just fiddle with it a little bit, like so. And then from here, you are jumping straight into, whoops, not the whole zip, just the stitch, into your next stitch, pulling it through. and then going into the stitch on your crochet, back into your material, back into your crochet. Alright, material, so go ahead and do all of this, get to your last pin, just wait right there and I shall meet you up. Alrighty guys, here I am at the end. Now I finished where just before my yellow I finished. I'm just going to pop that out and go straight into, I was using yellow pins most of the way anyway, and just keep going in the round. Now remember, we didn't start here, we started all the way over here somewhere, so we need to go all the way around, yeah? So keep going in the round. This part here is a lot easier to do. I did keep it for the last bit on purpose because it opens out a bit, yeah? The zipper foot part, actually right down this section here, is closes off, so it's more difficult. So I thought if I leave the easy bit for last, it makes you feel happy. Alright, so let's just pop that in there. Not bad, not bad. It did take a long time. I'm sorry guys, most of my tutorials do. But this one here took a little bit longer. It's a little bit fiddly, I know. Anything with a zip is a little bit fiddly. I'm on my last section of this side of the zip, so I'm going to just pop it in like normal. So I've gone over the zip, past the zip, and we're still going to go across into that section there. All right, now here we are in the middle of our, right there, in a second we'll be right in the middle of our zip there. So, are we in the material yet? Yes, we are. We go back into that very last stitch again. We're not onto the other side yet, we will be in a second. Okay, and then we jump right over. I may have to take the needle out now, but it doesn't matter because we're actually almost done. We've got that little tiny bit left there to do. It's a little bit fiddly, just tuck it in. Okay. Oh, I forgot where I was now. I've got to go in the yarn. I've got to go into my yarn here. Can you see where I'm going? Right there to the thickness of the stitch. Actually, that might be, oh no, it's a stitch. Okay, now we're jumping over to the other side of our zip. So really you need to get right into that zip section first, and to make sure that stays in place, just go back into the same bit of yarn that we had there from our pencil case or bag, or whatever you want to call it. And that'll just keep it in place so it won't move it around. You can jump straight on top of that very next section that you want to do and straight into your very next stitch. Oh, is that too far for you guys? I'm sorry. How's that? Does that help? So straight into your very next stitch, splitting a stitch there. I think I've gone through, but again, that doesn't matter because you can't see it. And we still haven't finished. We've still got this big gap here. So back into your material, into your crochet. I think we've got it. I think this is it. No, one more. Right there. One more right there. And now, because you can actually see the knot under there, right? You can see the knot under there. So go back into that last stitch. Now, if it helps, and I think this is a really good idea, just go a couple of more goes over. So move over a little bit like that. So now you're just past your knot. We've literally just passed that knot. I'm just going to do one more and then straight into the yarn. Now with the yarn, you know what you can do with the yarn now? What we usually do with sewing, not with crochet. Pop it through the yarn and pop that around a few times, pulling your needle through, making sure you don't pop that too tight around the needle, otherwise your stitch won't come through. Yeah. Then you're going to do, guess what, a little bit more, because Miss Stickler here, you know how she is. So you're going to do a little bit more. And you're going to do it again. Can't take Miss Stickler anywhere, can you? Anywhere but out. All right, and there you go. That's it. If you want to do it a couple of more times, I might just do one more because, you know, I am a stickler. You know that. Okay, and just wrapping your yarn around your needle a couple of times, or I should say thread. It's not yarn, is it? This is a thread. This is a cotton. And then you can cut. If you want to if it makes you feel better, you can actually weave in and out of there as well. In and out of your yarn as well. So bring it through. There is your lined, get everything out the way. Ta-da! Your one line zipped bag. There you go. Now if you wanted to, you could have actually sewn your zip to the bag, but no, I prefer it like that. So it's a little bit sticky at the moment. Once you wash your bag, it'll look like that. Okay? It would have been better for me to have used a white lining rather than a cream, because I can see the cream lining, or whatever it is, beige or whatever you want to call it. So there you go. Now you open it up and you've got room for, oh, I didn't open it all the way. Hello. There you go. Now you've got room for all your crochet hooks, your needle case, your scissors, your cotton if you want to sew more stuff together. I'm doing this without being a long ways. And then, oh dear, we don't want anyone to see our stuff, so we will zip it up. Very nice. All right. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share and do all those wonderful things that you guys already do for me. And don't forget to join us on Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Melbourne, Australia time to watch our lives and talk about our this week's projects and whatever else is coming up in the future. Don't forget, guys, we are currently in the middle of our Christmas series as well. We have finished a coaster, placemat, and we're going to be doing our table runner tomorrow. Yay! Okay, so there you go. Now don't forget, guys, to join me this Saturday morning so that we can talk about our zip lined pencil case / crochet hook bag holder. Crochet hook bag, if you know what I mean. Thank you so much for watching, and all I want to say right now is ciao for now.